Thank you for staying with us tonight. President Bola Tinubu has approved the introduction of a 15% ad valorem import duty on petrol and diesel imports into Nigeria. The federal government says this initiative is aimed at protecting local refineries and stabilizing the downstream market. The president directed immediate implementation of the tariff as part of what the government described as a market-responsive import tariff framework. But questions have been raised as a result of this development. Is this economic affordability or strangulation? Are Nigerians on the verge of paying premium prices? And some stakeholders say this is in public interest. It's a protection racket with legislative approval. Could this policy create supply shortages if local refineries can't meet demand immediately? Should the government have waited until domestic refining reached full capacity before implementing this duty? Is there a risk of overprotecting local refineries at the expense of market competition? Tonight, let's have this conversation with energy expert Kunle on policy understanding and rational economic and market impact on refining and local production, as well as other matters. Good evening to you, Mr. Kunle. Thank you for joining us on Politics Tonight.
Good evening. Thank you very much, Olajumoke. How are you today?
Very fine, thank you.
It's nice to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. So what's the rationale behind introducing the 15% import duty of petrol and diesel at this time? If the core objective of this initiative is to operationalize crude transactions in local currency, if it is to strengthen local refining capacity, if it is to ensure a stable, affordable supply of petroleum products across Nigeria, why now? And how does this align with the government's broader energy and fiscal policy objectives?
Okay, thank you very much. You know, anything tax is always going to generate controversy anywhere in the world. If you put tariff on anything that looks like it will increase the price of that item, world over, people will resent to it. But in this case, this is just a pragmatic step that President Tinubu had to take. Because when you look at the entire scenario of our energy, particularly liquid energy, that is petrol and diesel, you will see that in the entire sub-region, West Africa, across like that to Central Africa, Nigeria is still the cheapest place for petrol, for gasoline and AGO because of the dumping. We have been experiencing dumping in this part of the world because of the daily volume we consume. So that has killed the refinery in the last 30 years. All our local refineries were killed by dumping. So this tariff that President Tinubu has just invoked based on the provision of the Petroleum Industry Act is timely because you have to protect your domestic industry. America is protecting her own domestic industry. Europe today, Nigeria cannot export urea to Europe. Europe put a tax against us. So it is time for us to realize that we must look at the scenario and adjust ourselves also into that reality. So we can scream, oh, this is too, no. We should carefully study these things, look at the prices. The landing price of petrol today, the inferior quality we are importing, that our people are importing to this country today, is about 61, 62 cents of a dollar. So when you multiply it by the exchange rate, even 1,500, you will see that our petrol is still cheaper. It's better you take petrol from here to Togo, to Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone is almost $2 per liter. It's about 1,800, 1,900. So this 15% is to protect the local industry. That's the local refining industry, so that they can refine crude and sell locally, and in fact export. So it's not a punitive measure, it's a protective measure for the investors. It is to stimulate investors and to stimulate
Mr. Kunle,
production. And
if you say this looks like a new reality, was this measure, recommended by any stakeholder groups? Talking about NNPC, Ministry of Finance, Customs, or IMF? Because you've just said this is to protect local refining capacity. Was it recommended by any stakeholder groups?
No, we have the provision in our law. We don't need, you see, very sorry, my host. We don't, some of these recommendations from World Bank and IMF, are they really, at times, are they really suitable for us? Our peculiar situation at times requires that we take some drastic home decisions. The same IMF and World Bank could not stop America from imposing tariff. The same IMF and World Bank could not stop Europe from imposing tariff on our urea from Nigeria, or from sub-Saharan Africa. So why at times are we always hinging everything on World Bank and IMF? Who are they, God? So your country is sovereign. This country is sovereign. President Tinubu must use his own local talents and brains to look at issues and evaluate it. And you have a local law backing you already, Petroleum Industry Act. So why do we need to be saying, oh, World Bank said this, World Bank did not say this? It is not, World Bank people, do they live with us here? How much are they buying petrol in America? How much are they buying petrol in Europe? So we should at times do our own things in the circumstance in which we find ourselves, if we want to grow at all. So I think the president has taken this decision out of what I can say, a conviction that it is time to start stimulating domestic investment in refining capacity and also to encourage the investors. Because this is how we gradually kill our textile industry. Where were the World Bank and the IMF when our textile industry was killed in the last 30 years in this country? They say we should open our border. Okay, we agree. We open the border. They dump all types of fabrics into this country. Today, you and me we hardly buy Ankara or what do you call the other one, Kampala, because we say, oh, it's not good because it's locally made. Even khaki that I grew up with in the primary school, we hardly buy khaki anymore, although I still wear it. So that's how we kill the textile industry. All right. So it's unfortunate that so we shouldn't be hinging some of these things on World Bank recommendation or IMF at all. It doesn't mean I have anything against IMF.
Mr. Kunle, let's leave the World Bank and IMF for some minutes. Nigerians have asked a lot of questions. I mean, they've raised so many questions. We'll come to those questions and say if you have answers. But let's stay on the positives of the implementation of this tariff. For you, are there any short and medium-term impact of this, duty on fuel prices in Nigeria? And I want your honest review. Could this lead to higher pump prices or worsen inflation? How might it affect the cost of transportation, goods and services? These are the core issues Nigerians are scared of. Will marketers be able to absorb the additional cost, or will it be passed directly to consumers?
No, you see, when you are going through adjustment, you see, economic adjustment or policy issues that trigger adjustment across these sectors, you must experience some galloping. It's not, you see, economics is very dynamic because economics is all about human behavior. It's a chemistry of people that you govern. So, and the driving force, which is greed in every man to consume, the greed for you to consume, the propensity for you to have, to acquire, to own, is tamed by economic policies. Interest rate determines many things. That is why many people cannot go into certain things. So at times when you trigger an element like this, definitely you are going to have an adjustment. But in this case, as of today, this 15% in 30 days' time, because you have a transition window, it will not trigger any inflation, except people who want to go into panic. Because when you see the landing cost of a liter of petrol and the current price of petrol from local refineries, you will see that there's still no need for anybody to trigger any inflationary push at all. But in the way we behave in Nigeria, because of our level of understanding and the rate at which some of these things can jigsaw around, people will just run into panic and say, oh, they have increased by 15%. Petrol has moved from 850 to 900. Therefore, what I sell must also add on. So these things are not properly coordinated because the modeling we are using is yet to be properly developed. But as we are adjusting, we're going to eventually create a very robust platform that can allow some of these things to be adjusted properly without you feeling the pinch too much, and I will not feel the pinch too much. And in this case, pragmatically, this 15% will not create any inflation. In fact, the any there is going to be put into infrastructural development of this country. It's going to be dedicated to infrastructure, education, health, roads. So we need to have a balance. It's a delicate balance. But I still give credit to President Tinubu, because if he has not done well, I will say he has not done well. If he has done well, I will say he has done well. So I've never met him, but so I'm not using this platform to praise him for any purpose. But if he has done well, he has done well.
But you have just said, Mr. Kunle, you have just said Nigerians would not.
So he has done very well.
Right. So you have just said Nigerians would not feel the pinch too much. Do you think Nigerians are ready to feel any pinch, no matter how small it is? Do you think Nigerians are ready? That is why I have defined. That's why I have defined the organic nature of economics and human behavior. You see, you cannot. You see. The domestic economy of this country has been based on import. We import toothpick, we import everything, we import tissue paper. So now if you make a tariff like this, even if the adjustment is going to take maybe 6 months, we are going to adjust through it. It's not that maybe because you have put tariff today, then within the next 2 or 3 months, there will be inflation. No. The price of petrol will not change. It will not change. As far as I know from, say, Dangote refineries, will not change. Whether the people importing will change their price or not, I don't know. That is between them and the regulatory authority. That's the midstream, downstream regulatory authority. But as I know, as I have spoken with Dangote refinery, they will not tinker with their pricing template in the next foreseeable future at all. They have no reason. This 15%, they have no reason. So I think the populace should be rest assured that we are conscious. The producer of petrol in Nigeria is conscious of their situation. We exist here for one another. We are not here to... The system is not just to extort the people. No. It's give and take, give and take. It's a system that is evolving. It's a circular system. The tax in itself is going to the circle. So I think the fears, we should ameliorate the fear, not help. We should not use the media to inflate and add fuel to fire. And that's why we're having this conversation. Yeah. But let's take a break at this moment. And when we return, we'll expand this conversation. Please stay with us, everyone. Thank you for staying with us, everyone. This is Politics Tonight. What is the rationale behind introducing a 15% import duty on petrol and diesel at this time? Energy expert Kunle is helping us with policy understanding and rational economic and market impact on refining and local production. And if time permits us, we visit other matters. Thank you for staying with us on the program, Mr. Kunle. I mean, the system is not here to extort. Those are your words. But, you know, what do you have to say to those who have said, global refineries face import competition daily without requiring their governments to kneecap rivals? You have also said this development would incentivize local refinery by making imports less attractive. Could this create a temporary supply gap? And what I mean is, if local refineries cannot meet demand, is this duty consistent with Nigeria's energy self-sufficient goals?
Yes, madam. You see, when we talk about global refining capacity and competition, you must take the zones. Where are the refining capacities of the world? They are largely in the USA, United States of America. They have a huge refining capacity. Saudi Arabia have huge refining capacity. But Saudi Arabia has decided to even spread their refining capacity out of Saudi Emirates. They've decided to invest in across Asia now. So then Europe used to have a very huge refining capacity, but Europe is aging. Including the population of Europe, as they are aging, their engineering infrastructure and processing infrastructure are also aging. So they are stepping down gradually. They have declined and they are going out, and their consumption level is getting lower every day. So the refining capacity today is going to shift to China, India, and Nigeria, because that is where the population of the world is also going up. China is huge, 1.4, 1.5 billion people. India is 1.4 billion people, about that now. Nigeria is about 220 million. So the refining capacity of the world is moving to where the consumption of petroleum and AGO, diesel, is also still in high demand. So I wouldn't be bothered whether the refining capacity in Europe is declining or not, because what do they need it for? They were dumping the product to us before. They killed the refining capacity in Europe, killed the refining capacity in Nigeria over the last 30 years. So since they are declining now, it's good for us to grow, and that is the role Dangote has just emerged to play for us. So you can see 1.4 million he's bringing to the market now. So the competition is out there, and we are ready for it. We produce crude. We buy the technology from the developed world to produce crude. So we should refine the crude and not export it to them to refine and send back to us. Can you picture that? I produce cotton in northern Nigeria. I send the cotton lint abroad and buy the fabric back. So why can't I turn the cotton to yarn and use it to weave clothes and wear? So I buy the technology and do it. I have labor here. I have the land. I have the climate. So the same thing with crude oil. I have crude oil here. I produce it. Why am I sending it out and bringing in white product? For how long will this continue?
All right, Mr. Kunle.
When you think of the rationality of this thing, yeah. So
we'll come back to that 1.4 million barrels per day, and whether that is even realistic. But two questions quickly, because, I mean, the truth is these fears are valid. One of which is that this will lead to increased smuggling or informal fuel markets if domestic prices rise. And second, you know, if government says this will ensure price stability and strengthen the Naira-based oil economy, how will the government and customs enforce this new import duty effectively now? Are there existing systems in place to ensure transparency and compliance? I mean, we've heard stories.
Of course, the framework for the compliance and to minimize leakages and so on and so forth is within the purview of the regulatory authority. The midstream, downstream regulatory authorities must wear their cap properly and their shoe properly and capture every liter of product coming in so that there is no leakages. So, and if it comes to the issue of smuggling, this is what I've been saying. If you cannot control your border, why should you hold anybody responsible who managed to smuggle 10 trucks of petrol out of Nigeria to where it is more lucrative? So it is that one is the responsibility of government. If your crude oil is being stolen, it's the responsibility of government. If your product within the country is being smuggled to the neighboring country because the price is more friendly.
I mean, don't you think those are the challenges we should... Can you hold on, sir? Please hold on, Mr. Kunle. Don't you think those are the challenges we should address before implementation of this duty?
Madam, it's a continuous effort. The challenges, as you bring out policies, there will always be challenges of how to implement the policies. There will be consequences, unintended and intended. Then you have to also rapidly mobilize resources and know-how to contain some of those leakages. It's natural. Some of these things, the way we look at issues in this part of the world is like an issue we just come to a fix. So it will just be a fix. So that fix means everything must take place within that fixed time and period. Life is not like that. It's dynamic. When you put a policy in place, day 1, day 2, day 3, you start monitoring rapidly. It is that capacity to manage policy dynamics that we are talking about. And that is why you need to assemble good people to implement policies. So I'm not too worried about those fallouts. If we are well focused and we are very honest, honesty is very important in some of these issues. Every policies definitely will have fallout. So you need to manage it with very honest team. So this is the thing. So these are not very serious issues. They are by issues, but they are important, but they are not the really active ingredients. Like the deregulation itself, you can see deregulation has brought a lot of fallouts. But the rate at which the president is able to mobilize hands and people to help him manage those unintended consequences is now what is making many people maybe to complain.
All right.
So I think we still need to build up a more robust a more robust managerial team and transparency and honesty to manage some of these policies fallout.
Right, but for some Nigerians, Mr. Kunle, these are serious issues that must be addressed. You know, because today someone said Nigeria has been asked to accept monopoly pricing, supply uncertainty and economic hardship, all to protect a refinery that can't deliver on its promises. True reform would allow competition to expose inefficiency, not reward it with tariffs. This means that some are saying this 15% is meant to protect local refineries like the Dangote refinery. And some say we're doing all of this when local production is not even stable. How fair is this criticism?
Local production is very stable from Dangote refinery. Very, very stable. You see, there are a lot of cheap blackmail due to certain vested interests over the years that continue to tell you that, oh, the local capacity is not there to meet the local demand. We have been saying this now. We are in October, end of October. Let's say we are in November now. We have been saying this now for the last 1 year. So what has transpired in the last 1 year with Dangote refinery in terms of capacity utilization of the 650,000 barrels per day? So you will not believe it. You will not believe the amount of vessels that come to that place to load products abroad. So why will people, a certain interested group in Nigeria, just continue to narrate it as if we will never attain that local capacity to look after ourselves? This country today, as it is with Dangote refinery, madam, we are energy sufficient. Dangote refinery can supply enough AGO, enough DPK, and enough gasoline for the domestic economy of this country. By December, January, that refinery will hit 700,000 barrels per day. That is the expansion going on there now that made them to slow down a bit because they are moving it from 650 to 700,000. So from January, 700,000 capacity refinery will be delivering in about 45 million liters of petrol to this country daily. If you give him the crude, if you don't give him the crude, he will import the crude. So he will import the crude and refine because he has the capacity to refine. And in another 2 years to 30 months to 2.5 years, the refinery will be doubled to 1.4 million barrels. So the issue, this cheap blackmail from a certain cartel or a group of people that say, oh, the refinery capacity is not there, let us import. Let them continue the import. They will pay the 15% duty now so that we can make more money from the duty for the domestic economy to have resources to look after infrastructural deficit that we are witnessing now. Right. There are bad roads everywhere. So we need money to do that. And it will also help to curtail our excesses in consumption also. So it's, in a way, it's good in a way. It will, in fact, part of that money will go into carbon capture. Okay. Because you need to reduce carbon emission. Some of these products imported into this country today, they are laden with a lot of sulfur and carbon. So the 15% will address many things. It is not, it is a protective measure, and it is a gradual thing. You cannot just leave your country open like this, particularly a very highly potential resource endowed country like Nigeria. All right, Mr. So I think President Tinubu must be supported for this type of ambitious project. All right. And earlier, for me, this is good. We need to move. Yeah. So let's accept that this is good. Yeah. I mean, earlier you had also said Nigerians will feel the pinch a bit. So how much of a price increase should consumers realistically expect? You said how much? Madam, can you repeat that? How much of a price increase should Nigerians or consumers realistically expect? There is no, I cannot see any price increase now in the foreseeable future, except all the dynamics begin to play out, like if there is an international crisis or hostility somewhere across the world and the supply is being affected, except that, or crude production is being affected somewhere and the crude price escalated, except that. So at the moment, I think we should have a stable period for the time being. We should have a foreseeable 90 days to 120 days stable environment about petroleum pricing. So I'm not too disturbed about this. Let's talk about other issues then. Let an NPC and government Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And another interesting development is that the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources says the federal government would support Dangote Refinery's plan to increase its output to 1.4 million barrels per day from 650,000 BPD. How significant is this development?
This is phenomenal, madam. And it's good that government came out and said they will support. Yeah, it's phenomenal. It has never happened in the history of this country. Since 1914, it has been created, I repeat again. And since 1960, we got independence, political independence. This is the first time we are going to get economic independence. And it's good. I'm happy for President Tinubu that he's so lucky that this type of transformation is taking place during his tenure as president of this country, because that goes into history, that he liberated this country economically. So 1.4 million barrel refinery a day. You know what it means, madam? It translates to between $90 million to $100 million a day that will be fed into that refinery every day. Can you imagine that humongous amount of money? And what comes out at the end of it is in multiples of millions of dollars. So Nigeria will become a hub. And it's even good now for us to now have other refineries to come up, to join, so that Nigeria now can become a place that about 2 million barrels is being refined per day. So the entire sub-region of West Africa and Central Africa, East Africa, South Africa, they can get all their products from Nigeria. So it will now open up the maritime industry. So I think this is a good, omen. It's a good omen.
But how realistic is this?
I'd like to see this happening. Yeah.
I mean, phenomenal, but how realistic is this?
How realistic?
I mean, within Nigeria's current crude oil production.
It's very realistic. You don't know, madam, when you set a project like this, it's a stimulus. This project is going to stimulate investors to bring more rigs to drill for oil. You see, oil is available everywhere now. So the next thing now is that, there's refining capacity in Nigeria, 1.4 million. Let me quickly produce in Ghana and sell to them. Niger will sell to Nigeria. Chad will sell to Nigeria. Cameroon will sell to Nigeria. All the crude. So even Nigerian investors in the upstream, you will see they will up their game. This thing is catalytic, madam. It's a good project for Nigerians investors in upstream to capitalize on. Because you are not going to have an idle period anymore. Then your international market suppliers, we also know that, I need to check my trade pattern, because Nigeria have a refining capacity now. So I will not be surprised even if part of the crude from Saudi Arabia will find their way to Dangote Refinery. So if the local investors in the upstream can up their game to 2 million barrels per day, 2.5 million barrels per day, then they can meet Dangote requirement. So it's very realistic, madam. You must create the enabling environment. You must create something that will magnet other things. You cannot just sit down and just say, because there is no enough production locally, because of that I will not increase my capacity. No, the market is there to take the product. So if I will not get the raw material, I will look for raw material from elsewhere. So that is the advantage, madam. There is no fear about that. And I don't want Nigerian skeptics to continue to be sandy every time pessimistic. This is our lifetime. We must get something that stimulates us.
Mr. Kunle, is this pessimism? And would you blame, kindly hold on, sir, is this pessimism, and would you blame people who are skeptical about this? Because there are those who have said this is risky. And from your own end, isn't it risky that such heavy reliance on one private refinery could distort the market or ultimately discourage competition?
Everything we do in life, madam, is risk. Including as I'm sitting here, is a risk.
You are sitting in our studio, that's not risky.
Earthquake can happen. No, I'm coming. Everything we do in life is a risk. To fly is a risk. To drive your car is a risk. To sleep in your house is a risk. So this risk that maybe Nigeria is putting all their egg in one basket with Dangote Refinery is unfounded. There are 3 government-owned refineries. I will advise the president, the minister of petroleum, and Bayo Ojulari of NNPC that they should hand over those refineries to BP to help them privatize it. All these issues I'm hearing that they are looking for technical partner. They cannot get technical partner from anywhere in the world. Are they studying the pattern of the industry across the world? Are they studying the pattern of investment across the world? So who is coming to be their technical partner? I can't get that language. Because why did South Korea not accept to be technical partner? Why did South Korea accept to be only contractor? The Wu from South Korea is only a contractor.
We'll come back to that, Mr. Kunle. Can you hold on? So
no, madam. No, please hold on for me. When one issue triggers something, let us explain it. When you say maybe it is a risk to put all the egg of Nigeria, the refining capacity of Nigeria in one location called Dangote Refinery. Madam, everything is a risk. Did Dangote Refinery said the government refinery should not work? All the licenses they gave, okay, there are 30 licenses issued. Bua is building a refinery. What is the status of his refinery? Let us find out. Let government and the regulator tell us the status of all these licenses. Let us see where they are. Or are they just sleeping with those licenses every day? Let NNPC tell us what is going on with their refineries.
Okay.
So it's not so that you spread the risk. The more the merrier. Spread the risk. But government should not waste Nigerian money, our money, in fixing those 3 refineries. Enough is enough. They are scrapped. They should hand them over to BP to privatize them. Instead, NNPC is going to get distracted now and say they are looking for technical partner all over the world. Why the people who built those refineries initially, why didn't they invite them originally in the last 10 years to come and fix those refineries for them and be the technical partner to operate them? We told them that time, we advised them that time to do that. They did not take our advice. Now one person has taken the risk to build a refinery. You are now saying, oh, the country will be in his hand. It's only one monopoly. It's monopoly. But which monopoly? So which one do we really want? What does Nigerian people really want for themselves? We just want to remain slaves, importing toothpick, importing petrol, and then sinking money in those refineries that are dead, technically insolvent.
But again, you wouldn't blame those who say, Mr. Kunle, I'm sure you wouldn't blame. I know why.
Social cost. Yeah.
I wanted to say you would not blame people who also think.
If you give me time,
there's this level of support.
If you give me time, I would like to advise.
Okay.
If you give me time, I would like to advise strongly that the president of this country, President Tinubu, Bola Tinubu, should please direct Bayo Ojulari to forward all the documents of those refineries to BP and allow BP to privatize them. Let them liquidate them. Anybody who buy them $10 can decide what to do with those refineries, so that we stop wasting our money and time and attention on those refineries. It has become even an embarrassment for us to be discussing those refineries in this country. It has become an embarrassment. It has shown the level of fraud that this country has been sitting on. We told them not to fix those refineries anymore, that they cannot work. They went ahead and did it. And now it has failed again. And they are now telling us they are bringing technical partner. Bayo Ojulari must stop that nonsense. He should hand over those refineries by law to the privatization agency. What are they protecting those refineries if it is not fraud? Why is their eye always there? It's a distraction to NNPC. NNPC should look onto upstream and produce more gas and oil and make money for us. They should stop. That cancer must be cut off. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
And I understand your perspective. But again, I'm sure you wouldn't blame those who say this level of support suggests favoritism or some potential monopoly in the downstream sector. I'm sure if I ask you if you share those concerns, Mr. Kunle, you say no. But let's talk about this technical partners for NNPC announcing plans to bring in technical partners for its refinery. What exactly does this mean?
Let me, you asked about technical partner, and yes. I don't see any technical partner that will come, except that technical partner is coming to commit fraud with the public managers that manages our refinery. So I don't want to discuss it anymore. Let us go to the issue of the downstream. The downstream, madam, will be streamlined
No. Let's stay on. Can you hold on, Mr. Kunle? If you say technical partners would not come,
okay,
why would you say that? I mean, if NNPC says this would work for us, why would you say it wouldn't work?
Which technical partner will come that will not do his due diligence? Will the technical partner come when they know that Shell, Chevron, ExxonMobil, all of them were in this country and they did not touch those refineries? So which is that technical partner coming from the moon? Is that not what we did to Ajaokuta, madam? Did any technical partner come to Ajaokuta Steel Company? So you think business is just 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 plus 2 can be 22. 2 plus 2 can be minus 2 in business. So no technical partner will just come and say, oh, I want to take your Porako refinery or Warri refinery. I want to be technical partner with you. I will bring my money. I will bring this. Do you know all the conditions involved? Do you know how much due diligence they will do? All this distraction of time, let the appropriate agency handle that one. That is BPE. NNPC should remove their hand from those refineries. The president should direct them to hand over those refineries to NNPC. Enough is enough. The then president handed over LMA Petrochemical to BPE. We privatized it. Today, LMA Petrochemical is called Indorama. It's a fortune center. Government is making a lot of money from dividend. They are making also a lot of money from tax. So I don't like to discuss this matter because it irritates me when I see my government, my leaders are doing what is wrong and I cannot correct them because I'm just one person, one voice. So that is why you see me, I'm so hard on Bayo Ojulari. He should remove his hand from these refineries. Hand them over. He should do a memo to the president and say, Mr. President, as it is today, these refineries are technically insolvent. I cannot carry them in my book anymore. Please allow BP to handle it. That is the most honest thing for him to do. You don't need to be afraid about that. What is he afraid of at that level? You tell the president the truth. He can only sack you. Or he will tell you, oh, I don't want it that way, I want it this way. And then you go and do what he wants, you allow it to go that way or to Mofi. Why? So please, madam, don't let us overkill this matter. Okay. Let's situate credit where credit goes. The downstream is going to be streamlined henceforth. We tried to streamline it 20 years ago, 25 years ago. It was aborted during Yaradua era, late President Yaradua. So again, President Tinubu now has taken the decision to streamline it. It will be streamlined now. Dangote can deliver refined product to any petrol station across this country directly. So we are going to have a new era, madam, completely. The old order is passing away. So let us rationalize this conversation so that it does not look like I am monopolizing it. So please, madam, go ahead with your further questions. All
right. No, my final take, I mean, this 1.4 million barrels per day that we're looking forward to, how would you reduce Africa's dependence on European and Asian refiners?
Yeah, madam, we have done the mapping. Okay. I'm aware of the mapping of the market deficit in Africa, madam. Every country in Africa imports petroleum products. Every country in Africa. If you see the mapping, if you see the desert mapping they gave, desert mapping means all the places that are dry, that needs to be wet with products from outside the continent. So, and Dangote is taking advantage of that mapping to say, okay, if I refine 1.4 million, if the country consumes so much, then I take the remaining to the entire Africa. Africa is have a huge energy poverty. Africa have a huge energy poverty. That's liquid energy and power, current energy. I hope you understand what I mean by that. That is electricity. So if we are able to address the liquid energy, that is gas and petrol, then we can now move on to power. Nigeria needs power. Nigeria is in a huge electricity power deficit, which is part of why we are way down today. So if we are able to address liquid energy now, then we now move to current energy. That is electricity. So I believe the president will give chance to some very good people in this country to bring more power to the market. I believe he will do that. I have suggested that he should call people like Professor Batinaji to give him 5,000 in that corridor, call people like
All right, then.
Deji in
All right,
Ogun
Mr. Dankule.
to give them, and call Aliko to give additional 5,000, so that the energy security of Africa, Nigeria in particular, becomes very, very important.
All right, then. Thank you for your insights.
We cannot continue to manage this poverty level. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much
madam.
for your insights. I mean, great conversation tonight from government's new 15% import duty on petrol and diesel to Dangote refineries' ambitious expansion. Thank you so much for your insights. Kunle, energy experts. Thank you so much. Please have a great evening.
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah.
And thank you very much for watching, everyone. That marks the end of today's insightful discussion. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.